Hello and welcome back to the Impression Wiz channel. I'm your host, the Impression Wiz. And today, I am going to be continuing my tutorial stuff. And this is, I would consider kind of intermediate, I guess. And this is how to do headcanon voices. Now, how I do headcanon voices kind of depends on what kind of headcanon voice it ends up being. And I have two that are actually pretty good examples. The first one is Papyrus from Undertale, and ironically, the second one is Sans from Undertale. Because they're both differently based, but very similarly how they ended up being created in the end. So the first basis of this and the first step I took for these was to kind of think of the voice, but the first step for both of them are completely different. For Papyrus, the very first voice I heard for Papyrus idea was from Jacksepticeye. And it's a Skeletor-based voice for him. But basically, I heard him do it, so I've based my version of Papyrus mostly off of what Jack did. So that's how my Papyrus voice has kind of come to be. Now, Sans, on the other hand, he's kind of... the first step is very different. Because I've heard many different Sans voices, and I've kind of picked and chose certain things from each of the different voices. So, the first step, basically, is to kind of figure out what your base is for the voice. Like, where you're trying to draw inspiration from. And one of them, if it's like a single voice, then you can pretty much do what you do in the basic one for a normal impression. But it's a little different because it's not exact, and I wouldn't try to exactly mimic it in some cases. Like with Papyrus, it's not an exact Jacksepticeye, because I don't have the same voice as Jacksepticeye. But it's different because of my own voice, but it's very similar to Jack's. I mean, I've had people say, hey, that sounds a lot like Jacksepticeye, so... And you know what? That's fine with me that it sounds a lot like him. But I'm pretty sure it's not exact, and it's kind of shifted. Now, Sans, since he's kind of a mishmash of a lot of different voices I've heard of other people doing a Sans voice, and other voices that sound very similar, pretty much I just have practiced him on my own. Kind of gone with what was in my head for most of it, and practiced that over and over and over. Now, the first two steps are very different for headcanon voices, of course. The third and fourth are very similar. Sort of. The third one is kind of questionable on if it's exactly the same. For Papyrus, I could actually kind of mimic what Jack's mouth was doing, because he was doing the voice. And it was sort of a Skeletor, so it was kind of putting those together, and that's how you get and mine is kind of changed over the time to be more my own Papyrus. So now Sans, on the other hand, like I said, he's a mishmash of everything, so I've just pretty much watched several different things. So I kind of practiced over and over, and I kind of thought of what he would look like when he was talking. And tried to picture it. And pretty much, it's kind of lazy and tired. Hey, how's it going? And that's how kind of Sans came to be. The fourth step will always be the same, no matter what kind of voice you're doing. Practice, practice, practice. So, basically, it's a similar process to if you're doing a canon character like Mario, like I said as an example in the last video, but there's no canon voice to it, so you can kind of play around with it a little bit more. But it helps to try and stick with the voice if you want to do like a really good voice and stick with it. But you have kind of free roam a little bit more than a canon voiced character. So I hope this kind of helps you get into the mindset of how to do a headcanon voice, like, say, Sans Papyrus, or let's say Homestuck. That's a big one that has a lot of headcanon voices that are very different, but you gotta kind of put in your head what you think they sound like, and then practice what you think they sound like, and that's how you get that voice down patented. So I hope this helped you guys learn a little bit more, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please put a like on the video. If you'd like to support me, please go to my Patreon and help out there. If you want to see more of my content, please hit that subscribe button, and I will see you Wednesday.